Hey everyone, it's John Heath here again for MiltonRose Learning with another Let's Learn lesson on the poem In a London Drawing Room by George Eliot. Okay, so we are going into fog-infested London with this one. So we're going to look at some key context so you get the history and you can really get a feel for what was happening at the time the poem was written. Then we'll do a quick poetry reading. We'll hopefully make Eliot proud with that. And then we'll give you some of the best annotations ready for this poem. Okay then, right, so first off, we have Eliot there down below, just looking very serene. And then we have the first piece of context, we have what's called a pea-souper, which we'll look at in London, where it gets very smoggy and kind of you can barely see where you are. Okay, so first off, let's look at that then for context. So Victorian urbanisation and smog. So because of rapid 19th century industrial growth and the Industrial Revolution, it turned London into a dense, polluted metropolis. This was a massive city and it was polluted as hell, where heavy coal smoke created these scenes called what they call pea-soupers. The Londoners called these, where you could barely see your hand in front of your face. It was kind of very difficult to see, and it choked the streets and completely blotted out natural light and the sun. Okay, so you were really struggling here. The smog was absolutely crazy, and that kind of is an image which recurs throughout the poem and is used as a bit of a metaphor. Then we have domestic confinement and isolation. So Eliot is writing here from an enclosed domestic interior, a drawing room, a bit like a living room in some ways. Eliot critiques how modern city life then alienates individuals, cutting people off from community, the seasons and nature, and the vital outdoors. Because obviously if you think of big cities like London, there's people everywhere. Obviously there's millions of people, but in some ways that kind of isolates you even more because there's so many people you feel like you almost don't know any of them, and it can isolate and kind of create social alienation. So I think that's kind of referred to in the poem as well. And then a new artistic movement of Victorian realism. You can research that, and modern alienation. So Eliot was a leading realist, and they basically moved away from romantic nostalgia for the past and for nature to capture instead the more realistic, cold, dreary psychological weight and artificiality of modern industrial society. She was going, well, I'm not going to be like the romantics and just wish that we could return to nature. I'm going to actually look at what we've actually created here in the industrial kind of revolution and be realistic about it. So it was a new artistic way of looking at things. Okay, and yeah, in the final image, she mentions that almost London has become like a prison house, and a prison house is there. You can kind of see it like a massive prison, can't you? We'll get to that final image when we start reading. Okay, so let's try and get it all on in one. It's a fairly small poem, so let's have a little poetry reading here. In a London Drawing Room. Okay. The sky is cloudy, yellowed by the smoke. For view there are the houses opposite, cutting the sky with one long line of wall like solid fog. Far as the eye can stretch, monotony of surface and of form, without a break to hang a guess upon. So you can see, can't you, London is not pleasant. Okay, you can barely see the smog, you can only see houses in front of you, no nature. It's pretty unpleasant. No bird can make a shadow as it flies, for all is shadow, as in the ways overhung by thickest canvas, where the golden rays are clothed in hemp. The golden rays probably meaning the sun's rays there, that are kind of obscured by the smog and the smoke. No figure lingering pauses to feed the hunger of the eye, or rest a little on the lap of life. All hurry on and look upon the ground. So everyone's running around, nobody's sitting there because they don't want to be stuck in the smog, and they're looking down as well. That's symbolic, isn't it? They don't want to face the horrors of this London life. Or glance unmarking at the passers-by. The wheels are hurrying too, cabs, carriages, all closed in multiplied identity. The world seems one huge prison house and court where men are punished at the slightest cost with lowest rate of colour, warmth and joy. This is a pretty horrible place, I've got to say, and you can tell she's bringing this realist lens to looking at London there and saying, what have we done by industrialising and stuff? This is very, very unpleasant. Now let's give you some of the best annotations to go into your anthology. You can see another pea-souper there. That's a great image there for you to visualise for any visual learners. London is grim and dismal and over-industrialised. Okay, so let's have a look then. The opening lines and the choked cityscape. The sky is cloudy, yellowed by the smoke. For view, there are the houses opposite, cutting the sky with one long line of wall. Okay, just about got that pronounced. Let's break it down then. The pollution imagery, yellowed by the smoke. We know the Industrial Revolution had kind of ruined London. It captures the toxic, coal-stained Victorian smog choking the urban sky. You would have struggled to breathe here. Also the violent verb and the wall metaphor, cutting the sky. So shows human-made architecture aggressively severing the view of nature and the horizon. Very powerful use of imagery there. And the simile, like solid smoke. So there you've got blurs the boundary between physical brick and the polluted atmosphere. Emphasises the oppressive density of this smog and the pea-souper. Then we have the monotony and absence of nature. So monotony of surface and of form. No bird can make a shadow as it flies, for all is shadow. So let's just unpick that together. The lexis of uniformity, the word choices of uniformity. Monotony of surface. Monotony means boringness, if that's a word. Kind of, the boring nature of everything. It highlights the uninspiring, soul-crushing sameness of the modern industrial streetscape. Everything looks the same. Okay, and that makes London even more boring. Okay, the paradox as well and of absence. No bird can make a shadow. It's because the city is already so smothered in darkness and smoke you wouldn't even be able to see the shadow. So light and living creatures can't leave a mark on this landscape. And if there's no light, light is normally symbolic of hope and purity and goodness. So if there's no light here, it means that we've lost our morality almost. It's symbolic, isn't it? It's a suffocating metaphor as well. Clothed in hemp, which is a little bit after this, portrays sunlight as trapped and strangled under a coarse, heavy fabric. You just can't breathe, literally and metaphorically. Then we have human alienation. So no figure lingering, pauses to feed the hunger of the eye. All hurry on and look upon the ground. So sensory deprivation, it depicts humanity as starved of natural beauty, art and visual nourishment. There's nothing around to look at because you can barely see. The downward gaze of anybody who's walking in the street. They look upon the ground, so it reflects the submissive, dehumanising nature of the workers. They're caught in the industrial grind, and we know that because the Victorians, the saying that they used to say, the capitalists who ran the factories, they didn't say how many workers have you got in your factory. They used to say how many hands do you have in your factory. And that's quite interesting. It's dehumanising the workers. They're just a bunch of hands who work there. They're not even people. How many hands do you have working in your factory? Shows that dehumanisation, doesn't it? And when they're looking on the ground, it's because they're submissive and they've been beaten down by this capitalist oppression. And the loss of individuality, multiplied identity, that phrase there, reduces diverse human beings. The closed cabs into just interchangeable clones. They all look the same, all the cabs look the same, and all the people look the same. Okay. And then the closing lines for your anthology it's basically like one big prison house. The world seems one huge prison house and court where men are punished at the slightest cost with lowest rate of colour, warmth and joy. So it's an institutional metaphor. It frames modern urban life as an inescapable sentence of confinement and judgment. It's basically you can't escape from this prison-like state of London. Economic and commercial lexis, like slightest cost and then lowest rate, though that's kind of like financial terminology that's being used, and I think that she's using that ironically to show how capitalism minimizes human emotion and dehumanizes us over time. And the tricolon of deprivation, colour, warmth and joy, there's nothing there, concludes with bleak imagery of everything stripped away by this modern industrialised existence within London. Okay, it's not a nice place to be, let's put it that way. Okay, so that's quite deep, quite conceptually deep, and it's a big shift from the Romantic literature to Victorian realism there, a big change, but hopefully that's kind of given you a really good jumping off point for this poem. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe and tap the bell icon so you never miss another Let's Learn video again. As always, share with your friends, pop stuff in the comments and we'll always do our best to reply as well. And it just remains to say that is in a London drawing room. Hopefully you've enjoyed the lesson, and obviously check back, we'll have more videos coming up soon, and then we will see you soon, so take care.